I thought we had free speech and freedom of religion here in America, but it looks like some people just haven't read the Constitution yet. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. A man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker at online booksellers today. A man was confronted in the Mall of America for wearing a Jesus Save shirt. The following video is used under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 and is being used in conjunction with my commentary.
I understand that,
right.
But Jesus is associated with religion and it's offending people.
No, it's not. Actually, it's not the religion. It's about eternal life.
Okay, but it's the same thing, okay? People have been offended, and like I said, all we were asking you is to take your shirt off, you can go to Macy's or we can leave.
I didn't say anything though. I didn't speak. I didn't speak. I didn't say anything. Just went to Macy's.
Just enough you wear the shirt, you walk around the mall, just enough
Oh, I was going to say to that.
Yes, sir, this is private property. Okay, so again, I'm giving you can give it your couple options.
Why are you making
Take
sure we got the shirt?
and you can go to Macy's and you can do your shopping, or you can leave the mall. Okay, those are your only options right now.
Okay.
Unless you want to be placed in another. If you want to shop here, you need to take that shirt off.
What is wrong with what is the problem with my t-shirt?
even though you don't figure
What is wrong with my t-shirt? What's wrong with my t-shirt?
Again, sir, it is religious soliciting. There is no soliciting allowed on mall property, which is private property. Okay? So again, we've had guests come to us. Exactly.
What is
Just
wrong
take
with
it
my
off and shop, man. That's all we want.
No, I'm citizen. I know the Constitution.
But you were
last
on private-
time. Last time I was here, they told me to leave for 24 hours. I did.
Yes.
That day I was preaching. I was preaching the gospel that day.
Yeah. You're still soliciting. And again,
I'm working.
yes, you're walking wearing that shirt in the form of soliciting, and we've had guests come up saying that they've been offended by your shirt.
Who say that? Who say that?
We've had guests come up and say you've been offended. So, like this gentleman just said too, take the shirt off and you can go shopping. That's simple.
Sir,
Or
Vicky.
I would be forced to
Vicky, clear.
and I don't want to do that.
Now, in this viral video, this black man is confronted by mall security for wearing a Jesus Save shirt. And the security go on to tell him that Jesus is associated with religion, and because Jesus is associated with religion, he cannot come into the mall because under the terms of the Mall of America, he's considered to be soliciting a religion. Now, when I take a critical examination of how this policy by Mall of America security is being enforced, it clearly shows me that these security guards do not understand our United States Constitution. Because under the First Amendment of our United States Constitution, every American citizen is allowed the right to freedom of religion, and they're also allowed the right to freedom of expression. These are rights that are guaranteed to everyone under the United States Constitution on public and private property, and it's clear to me that these security guards clearly have not gone out here and read our United States Constitution. And they are deciding to arbitrarily enforce a policy on this black man. And I believe one of the reasons why they wanted to go out here and enforce that policy is due to their lack of education, because over the last 20 plus years, under people like Lucy Calkins and their balanced literacy program, many of these young people who have these kinds of jobs really did not get a good education in things like American history, social studies, or civics. Because if they had gotten those courses in American history, social studies, and civics, like my generation received, they would understand that you don't go out here and confront an American citizen on American soil regarding a Jesus Save shirt, because that is that American citizen's right to freedom of religion, and it is their right to freedom of expression to express themselves even on a piece of private property, because federal law supersedes even private property rights. And when you are in America, everybody is allowed to have their right to freedom of religion and freedom of expression here in America. But because these guards were in their feelings about the people who say that they were offended by this shirt, they wanted to go out here and call themselves trying to enforce mall policies that were clearly unconstitutional. And I find it quite troubling that there were people in this mall who were offended by a Jesus Saves shirt. I just find it quite troubling because, again, you would think American citizens would understand that under our United States Constitution, that man has a right to wear that shirt, because under our First Amendment, freedom of religion and freedom of expression and free speech are to protect the speech we don't like, not to go out here and allow people to just be able to censor anyone here in this country. And this is a very troubling trend as related to America. We have a lot of what they call the social justice warriors, and these social justice warriors believe that it's their right to go out here and deny everybody their rights to freedom of religion, freedom of expression, and free speech. They believe that it is their right to go out here and silence people for offending them, but that's not how our Constitution works, because our Constitution is not about gratifying the feelings of individuals, but sadly, due to the dysfunctional way many have been raised over the last 20 to 25 years under our dysfunctional education system with balanced literacy by Lucy Calkins, and many of the dysfunctional ways they've been raised in these homes by baby boomers, we've got a generation of people who are caught up in their feelings about somebody wearing something that they don't like and believe it is their right to go out here and deny that person their rights that they're guaranteed under the Constitution. That is what the social justice warrior believes that they have a right to do. But when they participate in these behaviors, these are the same types of behaviors that fascists go out here and do. And your fascist believes that, oh, since this person does not agree with the way that I'm thinking, I have a right to go out here and deny that person their rights to their liberty. And that's exactly what happened here in the Mall of America. And that should be appalling to most Americans because, again, the United States of America is a country that prides itself on going out here and allowing people their rights to free speech, their rights to freedom of religion, and their rights to freedom of expression. But in this case, we have a foundational Black American man. He's being denied his rights, and I believe partially he's being denied his rights because he is a foundational Black American man. Because I wonder if those mall security would have confronted a white man who was out here and wearing said shirt that said Jesus Saves. I wonder if they would have even had the gall to even get offended, because one of the things I notice with many of these racists is they call themselves saying that they're offended by a black man for going out here and expressing his constitutional rights because they don't want to see him as a citizen on the same level as they are. And what they want to do is go out here and have security go out here and confront this man and have him removed to put him in his place. Because according to many of these racists, a black man is not considered to be having the same rights as a white or a non-black person even though our United States Constitution in the 13th and 14th Amendment grant foundational black Americans the same rights as every other citizen in this country, and those rights were guaranteed to us under the Constitution. But again, we have mall security violating our U.S. Constitution and then trying to make the excuse, oh, this is because we're on private property. No, it doesn't matter whether you're on public or private property. Our United States Constitution covers the entire United States as related to the First Amendment, and it also covers our rights, again, as related to being citizens in this country. And this mall security, in their attempts to try to pander to social justice warriors who were saying, oh, I'm so offended, they basically violated this man's civil rights, and it's really disturbing to see them going out here and violating this man's civil rights. And what's really interesting here is that with this whole policy, we see that the social justice warriors and the racists are just two sides of the exact same coin, because both of them are saying, oh, we're offended by Jesus because he is a part of religion, and they're also going out here and targeting a black man. So we see how these far leftists are just as racist as those on the far right, and they actively go out here and look to suppress people's rights as related to just going out here and expressing themselves. And that's really the troubling thing here about this entire incident. It's happening right here, again, in America, and we're seeing how Americans' rights are being breached as related to incidents like this. First, it was your jab mandates, where people were denied the right to even go to a restaurant here in places like New York City. And now you've got somebody trying to go after somebody because they want to express their religion and their religious beliefs, and that should not be something that should be allowed in this country. Again, they said that before this man came into the mall and was trying to preach the gospel, and they told him he couldn't come back for 24 hours, and I find that to be quite troubling, because again, this is his constitutional right. And what I also find to be quite troubling is that while the Mall of America would possibly deny this man his constitutional right to freedom of religion, they would go out here, and if this man was wearing a rainbow pride shirt, possibly this man would be ignored by everyone, and there wouldn't be a single person offended by anything that he says. So what I see here is what Jesus actually talked about in the Bible as related to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were supposed to be righteous men, but those righteous men were not about serving God. And because they were not about serving God, what these men were doing was trying to pander to the Romans by putting oppressive policies on the people. And as they were looking to put oppressive policies on the people, they strained at a gnat and swallowed a camel. And what they would do is go after individuals for minor offenses and persecute them for them. Meanwhile, they would go out here and give passes to people for big time offenses, and that was all the way up into the crucifixion of the Messiah, where they went out here and released Barabbas, a murderer, but then wanted to crucify Jesus, who did absolutely nothing. And again, this is the sad state that America is on, and that's a sad state of affairs, because it clearly shows how deeply disconnected we the people have become from the principles of our United States Constitution. Because when we go out here and strain at a gnat, which is this man wearing a Jesus Save shirt, but we go out here and allow passes for all sorts of extremely egregious behavior under policies like your bail reform, what happens is you get nothing but chaos. Because if this man possibly walked into one of these stores and shoplifted, he possibly would have been allowed to run freely in that mall, according to the social justice types, because he was poor and suffering, and he was simply stealing in order to make a living. This is how backwards the thinking of many of these social justice types truly is they will get out here and look to confront a man over a Jesus Save shirt. Meanwhile, somebody could come into that Mall of America, participate in some group shoplifting, and not a single security guard would confront a single one of those shoplifters. Again, completely backwards thinking from these individuals who are a part of that social justice type, because Minnesota is full of these so-called blue party leftists who, again, strain at a gnat, which is this man expressing his constitutional rights, but will go out here and swallow a camel as related to shoplifters, and showing me again how dysfunctional our country has become under failed leadership by the baby boomers, who have failed to go out here and raise children to understand what's important about our country, what's important about our Constitution, what's important about America, and what makes it distinct. Because going after this man for wearing a Jesus Save shirt, this is what's done in countries like communist China. This is what they do to go out here and try to silence those who dissent. And sadly, it's even done in some parts of other communities here in America, and nobody wants to talk about that. But it's done, and again, we need to stand up to these people, because Americans have a right to freedom of religion, and we are in a sad state of affairs when people are walking and trying to deny people the right to express their freedom to worship the Most High God, because it was on every coin in our country it says, "In God we trust." And by going out here and confronting a man for wearing a Jesus Save shirt, you're showing how you are actually against God. And to say that people were offended, this is also deeply troubling to me, because here you are in America where most of the people used to serve God, and you're saying you're offended by a man expressing his love for the Most High and his respect for the Most High, and you're sitting there thinking that this is okay, because if they silence this man, they will silence every other person. But I have to wonder again, if this person was wearing a shirt saying that Islam saves, would he have been confronted? Critical question I would like to ask, because if he was wearing an Islam Save shirt or a rainbow shirt which talked about pride, anybody would have confronted them. And the whole thing is that I doubt they would have confronted him, because these are political ideals that many people don't want to go out here and push back on, because they would be considered to be Islamophobic and homophobic. But it's okay to go out here and attack a person who wants to express their love for the Most High, and you want to go out here and attack that person for having a love for the Most High and His Son, the Messiah. And again, that just shows how you're violating this man's constitutional rights, and how you're disrespecting every person who is a part of serving the Most High. Now, I believe the only way to stop places like the Mall of America from disrespecting foundational Black Americans and disrespecting those of us who follow the Most High and serve the Most High God is for all of us to start not going to these places and start voting with our dollars. Because if we vote with our dollars and avoid putting our presence in these places, we can go out here and send a message to these people that it's our money that allows your business to become profitable. And if we don't get our respect for our constitutional rights, we're not coming to this business. That is the message that every foundational Black American and every Christian and everybody who serves the Most High God, whether they be Catholic or Mormon or whatever religion that is a part of the Bible, we all have to come together and say, no, we're not coming to this mall, because this mall disrespects us. And since we cannot express our beliefs, then we will not go out here and spend our money in these places, and we will not go to these venues to go here and shop. That is the message that we need to send, and that is the message we need to send to the Mall of America for its extremely intolerant policies and its extremely racist policies. we have to send a message to those in the mall that if you don't respect our constitutional rights to freedom of religion and freedom of expression, then we will expressly not go to your mall or any of the businesses there. And that is the message that needs to be sent, because when people don't give you respect, you take your respect. And the way everybody who serves the Most High God can take their respect is to go out here and take our business elsewhere and let those in the Mall of America understand that we are one nation under God, and that is a part of our Pledge of Allegiance. And for you to sit there and say, oh, Jesus is associated with religion, and this is why you can't be here, well, this is why your businesses won't be here, because we're not going to go to them. And that is the message that foundational Americans need to go out here and send, because this whole incident, again, is quite troubling, because it shows how we have had a generation of people who do not understand our United States Constitution, and that should scare everybody in this country, because we're on a bad road with these kind of policies, because these kind of policies run counter to everything that the founding fathers allegedly established this nation to be. Now, this was a video requested by one of my viewers, and if you want to request a video, you can send a donation to the Cash App, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and novels like The Thetas and Eternal Night, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find those books at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Pick up your copy of John Haynes at Death's Door at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere.